call it McKenzie. The common denominator is structure. Everybody wants structure. Everybody wants structure, but they'll run from it until they meet that right person. And just that motivation. I was always able to have teams where I can create a competitiveness about it, that when the football at Patterson Catholic, our practices were brutal, and we had terrible facilities and everything else, but the kids took pride in it. They didn't want to be not that guy. We laugh when Vic was a junior, he was like the second or third best receiver on the team,
Wow.
And in turn, other people, Vic didn't want to be that dude because he was a basketball player.
Right.
Came out late as a junior, came, and then he just turned it up like, I'm not going to be outworked by these guys. And me as a coach, I never wanted to be outworked. I laugh. One of my former players coaches like travel baseball, Pony League baseball, and I went to see the championship last night. And I was like, well, they won and everything I got. And I said, some of those lessons last. He said, yeah, them 6 a.m. practices really, yeah. I used to practice 6 o'clock. And people used to tell me, Eastside High School, nobody's coming to practice 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, if they don't come, they don't play. And if you got here after 6, the door was closed. So I was up out my door and that thing was open. We were taking batting practice at 6 a.m. in the morning. We had great success. At Patterson Catholic, people like, you're taking these kids up to, like, we would go upstate New York. There's no cell phone reception, no nothing, and practice, which is probably illegally now, 3-4 times a day. And I remember the first year I did it, came back, kids got off the bus like, you're crazy, we're out of here. We're gone. That first year we went 2-7. After that, everything turned around. People bought into it. They bought into over the summer, everybody's at Seaside Heights and doing all that other stuff and traveling. We were practicing. I sacrificed many times a vacation and getting the vacations late because I understood that our kids had to do more to be better.
And you was dedicated. Mm-hmm. When people talk about you 20 years from now, what do you hope they say, not just about you as a senator, but as Benji, the father, coach, and servant leader?
I think I don't think senator will be the title at the end of the day. I don't think
so
in the air. I think it'll always be Coach Wimbo. Anywhere I go, even my former players, even girls who didn't play for me, who knew me, the first thing that comes out their mouth is coach. And I think I want to be remembered as somebody who coached some people up, who coached people's lives to be a little better, and who led an example for, my 4 sons and many other people I've mentored that, look, giving back is what we're supposed to do. And success and what we've received is, we have to pay that back. Jackie Robinson always saying was, a life is as important as the impact it had on others. So at the end of the day, I want to look at Victor Cruz and I want to look at some of the lawyers and doctors and some of the other people like my son and different people and go, that's what I was giving back to the community. And that's what I was blessed with some opportunities, had some struggles, and able to put them in a situation that their lives are that much better, but they'll make the next group of lives even better.
I haven't had the opportunity to meet your son, but I've heard so many amazing things about him. And like they say, the apple don't fall far from the tree. And I heard he has a program called Zone 6.
Yes, yeah. So he's been very involved. He, obviously he grew up on the field in the gym and got dragged around with me. Like he literally was my sidekick. Like he's older than the youngest by 8 years. So he was kind of the one that went everywhere from football practices to football camps to everything else. And that sports mentality really, resonated with him. So he went to Hampton University, graduated with honors in sports management, got a scholarship to University of Arkansas, was able to GA in football at University of Arkansas and work at the athletic department. And there's not much to do in Arkansas. Not for a brother. There ain't too much to do but eat and watch sports. So he came up with the concept while he was in grad school of Zone 6. And one break, he told me, Dad, when I come back, I want to have this combine. And I'm still coaching at the time. I'm going, Jay, how are you just going to have a combine? Like, I didn't understand. I didn't understand the magic of IG at the time.
Right.
So I wasn't a big IG guy, still old school Facebook. He goes, I've contacted all these kids on IG, and I'm going to do a photo shoot, and I'm going to do this. I get to the school that day, the place is packed. He got all these banners up, posters up, and he's been in Arkansas all this time. He had connected with all these kids through IG. Now, they knew me as Coach Wimberly, so he's at the school and everything. And from that class, we got a kid, he has a kid, not me. I'll give him all the same. Kyle Menange is going to Chicago Bears. He got another kid that's at UCLA. My son is just graduating from Hampton. Our third son getting his MBA. Another kid who was part of his original Zone 6 just graduated and working on his master's. He's done a phenomenal job where now he has these swag rooms. I think he has 8 swag rooms throughout the city of Patterson and 1 charter school where students with academic goals, and they have all these video games and big screen TVs and oversight. It's amazing. And now he's gotten into the business of, they have a sports lounge, Fast Break Sports Lounge, powered by Zone 6, which is in Center City Mall. And he's already got a bunch of events. So I got 2 more events, and I got to go finish off with him at tonight with a game night. They're doing a board game night there with the fraternities and sororities. So, he's really creating his own path.
That's amazing. I know you got to be proud as a father.
Oh, yeah, this is super. And that he came back home.
Yes.
He had the talent. He could have, went anywhere else, but it was important for him to come back and give back to his home and his community. And I think he's been a great example for his little brothers because each of them, the first 3 have graduated with honors. The youngest is doing very well academically and plays football. So he's been really, not just for him, but a lot of kids in the neighborhood still see him and go like, he could have broke out. He could have moved. He could have went somewhere else, Atlanta, Charlotte, anywhere else. But he decided to come back and give back to his community.
That's amazing, man. Again, like I said, the apple don't fall far from the tree.
Thanks.
What message do you have for young people listening who feel unseen, unheard, or unsure of their future?
All I could say is choose hope over despair. And people always ask me about, Team Hope, and why do you always use the phrase hope? And, why? Because I think we have to have hope. And I think we have to speak energy into people. Your circle is going to determine how strong you are probably as a man or a woman. Because if you're around people who are always negative, you're probably going to be a negative type person. Like on social media, certain people, I go, oh man, delete. I can't take the negativity. But if you're around somebody who's like, yo man, you are the bomb. This studio is, we getting ready to take this to LA, bro. When you got that type of energy, it's a different type of brother, and there's no jealousy in your circle. There's nobody with envy. There's somebody who just wants you to be that much better. And I've been blessed in life to have some great friends. Like my friends, Pastor Lassiter is my friend. Outside of being we did it since we've been young and high school.
Now, trust me, I asked him even before.
Oh my God!
Before I sent the questions, I sent it to him, and I was like, I know this is one of your closest friends. Is there anything that I should ask differently? And he was like, no, bro, you nailed it.
He knows I'm going to be pretty authentic.
Yes.
When I'm in a situation, it's a blessing that I could call my pastor for personal stuff.
Yes.
Because everybody can't talk to their pastor, which is the worst thing you could say is like, yo, I'm embarrassed. This happened. I know I could call Pastor Lassiter and like, listen, this is what's going on. Like, all right, I know you can't solve this situation, but I need to vent and let this out. And it's part of mental health now. Like our young folks, and particularly men of color, do not have that outlet to talk to somebody, and that's why you have the high rates of suicide. You have the depression. You have people going in there, and then if you're around that mentality, that's what you become. So the one thing I'm very, very protective, and particularly my kids, and like when Vic was coming up and stuff like that, like me and his mom have a good relationship, like, bruh, they ain't a good crew to be around, or like, here. And now to see like how he's become this businessman and all this, like people know the story. Vic filled out of UMass twice.
Right.
And I remember he used to hang out in my office at Recreation. Jimmy Salmon's his godfather. So like, Vic, you ain't hanging around here forever. You going back to school. And he's sitting around in that conversation, bro, you need to go back to school. You need to get your life together. This guy's a multimillionaire. You know what I'm saying? The kid Al-Qadim Muhammad, who plays for Detroit, brought me out last year to do a game. I'm like, my son's like, him and Justin are really good friends. I'm like, I'm tired. It's a Thursday. I went there and I'm seeing like, this is a kid from the South Ward of Newark. Like brutal living situations. And now he's this guy that so polished, so groomed, like that's the blessing of it, that here. But I will tell young folks, be careful who you spend your time with. Be careful. And that includes adults, because you have adults, and we know that will put a kid down quicker. And I think it's the worst thing in the world when you have a teacher or a coach or a boss, you're lazy, you're sloppy, you're tired, and for many years, us as men of color, the first thing, you're lazy, you still, you got that, they already have that stereotype of us, so you got to fight that before you even get started. But you need somebody to put those positive affirmations, bro, it's going to be okay. It's all right. Bro, let's pray together.
Exactly.
Let's have that talk. No, bro, don't go there. Don't do this. You can't have that guy who's gonna hype you up in the car and go, "Look, let's smoke this blunt. We're gonna hit this 40, and we're gonna blow this whole place up." That's the mentality that they have to stay away from. And same thing for females. Like I've mentored a lot of females, like young females who come to me confidentially, I've talked to and stuff, because they didn't have that father figure in their life. So me giving it to him as a man, like that's a bad idea. That guy's not a good dude. No, that's a bad idea. Like I don't and not care that like there's here. I've had guys, oh, you told her. I said, yeah, you're terrible. You're terrible for her. Like, we need those people in our lives who are sometimes brutally honest, but compassionate enough to know how to deliver it.
Exactly. No, man. I have this a thing what I do called quick round fire. So I just want you to say the first thing that comes to your mind. So what's your go-to gospel song or scripture that lifts you up?
Oh, gosh. I am a big old school, like Aretha Franklin gospel. This lifts my spirits, like, any Amazing Graces or One Day at a Time or anything. And I like the modern stuff, the Hezekiah Walkers and stuff like that. But there's something about hearing Aretha Franklin like on a Sunday morning and hear that pitch, kind of gives you that shiver and that lift up to you. And, Romans 12:12, I like I said, hope, affliction and faith. I mean, that's who I've been, and a lot of times when I speak publicly, I'll end, in that verse, because I just think we have to have hope. We have to have that. But we got to be, able to get through some of the afflictions in life, yet, be faithful.
A quote or mantra that's stuck with you all these years.
I had a teacher, a professor at Virginia State University, Dr. Gerald Burton. And crazy is my son had him 30 years later, and he remembered me. And he spoke at a public forum. He was one of my fraternity brothers. And at the end, he said, stick this saying on the back of your door. And at the time, no social media, no nothing. This is the 80s, whatever. You never fail until you stop trying. And for years, I had that written on a piece of paper, just a regular piece of paper, stuck on the back of my door. So when I walked out the dorm every day, you never fail until you stop trying. And I've always told people, like, failure cannot be an option. Failure cannot be an option.
Just gotta keep repenting and trying again, trying again.
Oh, you're gonna stumble if you.
We all do.
Any successful person has had some highs and lows. I tell people there were many days, like when I was in college, I just wanted to quit. Like, I can't do this. I don't have the money. I don't. And my mother, like I said, she was one of those praying moms and prayer warriors. You're not coming back here. I'm back here for you. We'll figure this out. Just pray on it. That's it.
Great mothers. Yep. Same with me. I wouldn't be the man I am today without her. She's the one that put the camera in my hand.
Yep.
She's like, nope, you're not going back hanging out with those guys. All they do is steal cars and sell drugs.
Yep.
We're going to take this camera and we're going to keep doing it till you figure it out.
Yep.
Favorite spot in Patterson to think, eat, or just vibe out?
Everybody knows 33rd and Route 20. I'm at Dunkin' Donuts every day. It's when I was younger as a teacher, I would go there and there's this old crew of guys, a couple of guys from Calvary, older guys, and Ray Lyde Sr. and all them, and they would have court every day. And one of the jokes was, man, you ain't old enough to be over here with us, So I would come in, get my coffee, have a conversation with them, and leave. But 30-something years later, I go to Dunkin' Donuts. Anytime I'm in Patterson, most people know in between 8:15, 8:45, I'm gonna be at Dunkin' Donuts. Coffee is kind of a comfort thing for me at this point, and I enjoy a good cup of coffee, and over the years I've changed from a sugar to now no more sugar in my coffee to just cream. Just give me my cream and go. But it's a comfort spot because when I get to Dunkin' Donuts, I'm usually going to have a conversation about somebody need a job, somebody need housing. Yo, Wim, what's up, man? Just good to see you, man. Congratulations, man. I don't need nothing give me a hug, And that's kind of my comfort go-to spot when it's talking about every day. And then on the other note, like I'm still that father, I'm still that dad, husband that goes to ShopRite all the time. So people laugh when they see me in ShopRite, but shopping is kind of a comfort thing for me to go down the aisle, and I'll go 3 times a week for 2 things, and my wife goes, what do you get? Like, what are you doing? And I like cooking, so I do a lot of grilling and stuff like that. And then, but, you'll see me at Nestle Cleaners, you'll see me at Terramino's, now Fast Break. I mean, I'm kind of a local yokel guy. So, but the real comfort, Dunkin' Donuts.
That's funny. I'm going to shop right after here myself. And it is, like you said, everybody's like, why do you want to do that? Yo, it's easy. It's therapeutic for me.
Oh, man.
Makes me feel peaceful. I could actually think clearly.
Oh, my God. I go through and the cashiers know me. Like, hey, Mr. Wimberly, hey, coach, and it's pretty cool that it's here. And then, I enjoy cooking. So even it picked up during COVID that I start like looking up recipes and doing different stuff. Gumbo. Like I learned how to do a roux and all this. And it came from, COVID was really a check on how are we going to keep our sanity and do certain things. So that was kind of a time for me that it really was stressful. Like, honey, I'll be right back. And I go to the shop right for hours. She's like, what's it cooking? I'm like, I'm just taking my time, looking for stuff and Googling recipes. And
I'm finding some special ingredients that make something new tonight.
Yes. So
you're going to love it.
We got a lot of new meals. That was the best thing, unfortunately, during COVID was we got a lot of new meals out of it, yeah.
Okay. Number one leader from the past or present who shaped you to who you are today?
My mom. I mean, without doubt. Like, my mom had over 40 surgeries.
Wow.
6 kids, public housing, came from a difficult childhood situation. And I always looked like I never wanted to disappoint my mom. Like, I never wanted her to ever get that phone call or have to come home and say, Ma, I'm having a baby. Ma, I'm quitting school. Ma, I got caught in the car. Ma, I never came home drunk or high. Like, she was somebody that I would see, like, that struggle, always had 3 jobs, always was on the grind hustling, and she always gave back. So one of the reasons, Joe, you're talking about, like, our moms were like friends. So, like, if somebody got burnt out or something happened, they came and lived with us. So I have a bunch of people who call me cousin that were biologically not cousins, but if they had a situation where they got put out their houses, they got burned or whatever, my mom was that person who opened their doors to say, you can stay with us till you get yourself together. And she's been that inspiration forever. My dad passed away when I just turned 14. And wow. I always tell the story, like, I just wish I had that time with him. And when I see people who don't treat their parents well, I go, man, I wish I had my dad now to see my kids. And my dad never saw me graduate high school, play a varsity football game, none of that stuff. And sometimes in my mind, I have those conversations like, man, Dad, I wish, like, you were here, you could see it. And he wasn't a bad dad. They just were separated, and he dealt with alcoholism. Right. So that was a difficult situation. He died at 47, but as I got older and more mature, many of his friends also were alcoholics and stuff like that because of their life situations, like financially could not, pay mortgages, could not be stable. So they turned to, a pint of liquor, and it became here. But so many of the men in our neighborhood were alcoholics, white and too, because I lived in that pretty diverse, lower income neighborhood in Patterson with white people, Jamaicans, everything else. But a lot of the fathers were alcoholics. A lot of them drank. And I think they tried to drink their problems away. And then that next group below them in the School 13 area and still to this day, a lot of heroin users that escaped from our reality. I'll never forget, I said, one of my other inspirations was I was a kid and I saw a guy shooting up in the playground at School 13. I didn't need Scare Straight program. That scared me. I probably I could have made the Olympics. That's how fast I ran home getting out of there. Like, I was terrified. And I remember going to tell the guys in the neighborhood, like, yo, the guy C was in the playground and he had a needle in his arm. I was terrified. And every time I saw him, it became like the boogeyman. Like, when I saw him, like, oh, man, there go C. I can't, and it scared me. And literally, I would say I would never use drugs and that like that. And like I said, the people my age, older than me, a lot of heroin users, a lot of people on drugs. My older brother and sister died young from, heroin abuse and stuff like that. My uncles, I tell people, like, when people think I got money or anything else like that, my mom used to tell me my uncles were away at college. When I got older, I found out college was jail. They were in jail. It's like, where's Uncle Kenny? But they haven't seen him at a dinner in a while. Oh, they're in college. But the joke was college was jail. And, so my mom did a great job of shaping me and not hiding me from stuff, but at the same time motivate me enough to want to do better.
Amen, amen. It's funny. I turned 50 yesterday, and I told my dad, I'm grateful that he's still here because a lot of my brothers, friends, close people in my life are not as fortunate and blessed, so
Yeah, and I tell people, cherish your parents. Like,
definitely.
it's not a
Honor that
burden.
mother, honor that
Yeah.
father. That's what I told
Oh
my parents.
gosh.
That's why I feel like I still have both of my parents,
Yeah, it really is. Even when my mom got sick, like the time we spent together, man, I'm so glad. Like, so she was in a nursing home, and I would go to lunch there, and she was up in like Wanacue area. I drive up there, have lunch with her, and I wanted to make sure those people would take care of her also. So if I wasn't there, like, look, you gotta know she got family.
Right.
And then those conversations, some of the legacy stuff that she passed down, and those, it's invaluable. So spend time with your parents and tell them you love them and your kids. And like I said, that's the one thing, as a dad, I tell them dudes every day, I love you. Every day, I used to drive them to school and they were a handful. So everybody thinks, oh, these were great kids. Oh my God, they were a handful.
All kids are.
Yeah,
I got 5 myself.
Parents calling the teacher, Mr. Wimberly, took his shoes off and he has his feet on the desk, So I used to have to prep him in the morning, like, my man, like, we're gonna have a good day today, But I love you. I want to hear you, but I love you, So
I wish my son didn't leave because he needed to hear that. What would your life look like if you wasn't a politician?
I'd probably still be coaching. I probably would be, that old guy coach now. But, I haven't coached in 5 years since COVID. I gave it up. And I actually did volunteer for 2 years as a volunteer coach, but a head coach. I would probably still be coaching, And, ideally, I wish I could have made my way back to Patterson, at some point to coach. But I just, coaching is just, I don't golf, I love fishing when I get a chance to go fishing and stuff like that. Don't hang out too much at places. But coaching was just, oh man. And I had a group of guys around me, men that, like I said, who build you up and whatever. Like, we just had a bond and we created this bond. And to this day, still, even though we're in coach, we text every day, we stay in touch. And it was just refreshing for me to get out on that field. And just to watch boys to men to grow up. Like, so they'll watch and see these guys, like, over these years become fathers and teachers and lawyers and business owners and military and police. That's was my gratification. So I would definitely be back in coaching.
That's what I thought too. So, Senator, first of all, I want to thank you for your time, your testimony, your truth. Whether it's through faith, football, or fighting for the people, you show that leadership means service. To everyone listening, I hope this episode inspires you to lead you where you are, in your home, your neighborhood, your church, or your craft. Until next time, stay grounded, stay creative, and stay committed. Thank you today for your time, brother. I appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you.
And congratulations
Thanks,
again.
Thank you. Thank you.